everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Successful Women's TV show. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. I am co-founder of Everyday Woman TV and a professional speaker. One of my favorite things to do in the whole world is spotlight women all over the world that are doing amazing, wonderful things to empower you, uplift you, inspire you. Today, I have the honor of interviewing one of my mentors, Summer McStravick.
Hi, Galit. I'm happy to be here. Good morning.
I'm so excited to have you here. Our journey has been going on for quite some time, and you've been absolutely a figure in my life that has helped me with a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. And so I cannot wait to jump into the topic and tell everybody a little bit about you, which will just be a short bio. Summer's done a ton of things, but we don't want to spend the whole 15 minutes just reading her bio. So we're going to shorten it for you today. But the topic we're going to be talking about today is what to do when you feel burnout, which is something most of us, if not all of us, have experienced. And I'm going to read a little bit about how fabulous she is. So Summer McStravick is a personal growth coach, an author, a podcaster, and creator of Flowdreaming, a mind-body technique for manifesting and growing inner emotional strength. Her books and podcasts have been used worldwide to transform people's inner emotional landscapes as well as their external lives. Her latest book is called Stuff Nobody Taught You. I love that title. Love that title. 40 Lessons from Me School to help you stop being miserable and start feeling amazing. You can find her at flowdreaming.com or through her podcast, Flowdreaming. When we're making it real easy for everybody. So Summer, I would love for you to jump right in. First, I would like to start with you sharing just a little bit more about what Flowdreaming is. I know we shared a little, but just a little bit more so people that have never heard of it know what it is. And then let's just jump right into how we can work and how we can learn how to move on from burnout.
Right. Yeah. First of all, okay. So thank you, Galit, for having me here.
Yay.
Yes. Flow dreaming is a practice that I do and I've done for 22 years now. I have to count on my fingers at this point, 23 years now. It's similar to meditation, but it's not meditation. There's no clearing your mind. It's not self-hypnosis. It's a different animal that relies on guided daydreaming, strong emotion, and what I call flow. There's a concept of flow. A lot of people know it from psychology, positive psychology. We combine these three things together into a technique. I use it to start my morning. I use it to end my day. I use it whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed or like just rocky in my something happened. And it does a lot of things. It programs your future. It changes your emotional energy right off the bat. And it helps you really focus and stay aware of, what am I doing all this for? What do I want from this? What are the feelings that I'm trying to capture from all the hard work that I'm doing? You know, especially as entrepreneurial women, there's a reason we work hard. And sometimes I think we forget why we're working so hard and what's, propelling us to try to be successful. So flow dreaming really centers you back in all of that. Gosh, it can even help you grow your business. So that's it in a nutshell, but I could explain the whole technique at maybe another time.
Yes.
But people should definitely look it up.
Yes. And from somebody that uses it very often, and I probably own about 40 now. These are actual recordings that Summer's done that you can take a look at. It'll explain it a little more. And what I love about flowdreaming.com is you can do this freebie where you get a small one, kind of get to experiences before you purchase them, and they're very reasonable. And the only reason I'm sharing that is because they've been a big part of my life. So things from anxiety to wanting to make more money in your business, to overcoming emotions in a relationship, to buying a big house. I mean, it's all over the place. Yeah. And I love that about them because I can kind of pick and choose what mood I'm in or what I want to focus on next. Yeah. And so it's just a quick way. And they're short. Guys, they're not long. I love that they're short. And the more you do them, seems to me, or my experience has been, that I don't even need to be laying down anymore or sitting quietly. I've done them for so many years now, probably 7 or 8 years now that I've been with you, Summer, that I can do them listen to them while I'm driving now or putting on my makeup. At first, I
Mm-hmm.
did close my eyes and I really put myself there, but I've just used them so much now that I even enjoy them just listening while I'm doing something that's safe, but that I can focus and not close my eyes. So,
Yeah.
little insight. Go
It
ahead.
that reminds me, I have a YouTube tutorial now
Right.
where a person could just go and they can listen to them, explain it all the way through.
I
So
love
look me up on YouTube and you'll find like a little 8-part mini series. Every one is like 6-8 minutes long. It's not hard at all to do. But yeah, that would be a great resource. You know, another thing for people who aren't woo-woo, because some people are like, oh, meditation, I don't like
right.
to do that. I have another term for the concept that's called emotional uh, emotional reconditioning, basically.
Yes.
Meaning that for those of us who don't feel energetically, connected or spiritually connected in that sense, if you go into this process of emotional reconditioning, what you're actually doing is changing the emotions that are inside you, the balance of them, which I think is really appropriate to kind of what we're
So
talking about today, which is
yes.
overwhelm and burnout. And you look at these emotions, you're like, how do I change these feelings inside me? Because I'm sitting at my desk and I'm not getting anything done, and I'm pulling myself to get things done and I just don't want to anymore. How do I change that? And I know a lot of people start with Google, and Google's like, take a deep breath. It's like, great, that's not going to do it, buddy. I mean, like, I am way past take a deep breath. So, flow dreaming becomes sort of like a core, powerful technique to start to change that emotional makeup or mix that's inside yourself. So
Yes,
there's
and
that.
pretty much everything we feel starts and ends with emotion. And
Yes.
I always say we love deeply, but we hurt deeply, those of us that love deeply. So
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up because I think the emotion part is so important. So let's
Mhm.
talk a little bit about burnout and what your
Yeah.
experience has been with your clients and
Yeah.
yourself, of course, because you're always so great and open about sharing your own experiences of what
Mhm.
has benefited you and what things and tools and methods,
Yeah.
because I'm always willing to learn myself about burnout
Yeah.
because we all experience it at some time.
Yeah. Um, there are so many people right now who are just regaining function, as I like to say. Um, the last few years for us have worn us down energetically, emotionally, even physically, so much that and a funny thing about burnout is you kind of keep getting adjusted to it. The higher the level it goes, the more you just kind of adjust to it
Yeah.
until you don't even realize that you're carrying a heavy, heavy burden of this. Just got to do it. Just got to hold it. I always say it's like, a person goes to the gym and they get really strong, and pretty soon they're lifting 100 pounds. They don't realize that they're constantly holding 100 pounds anymore because it's become normalized. So I work with a lot of really high achieving people, and sometimes they're really successful, and they've been holding this 100 pounds on them for so long, and they finally say, "I don't know why I'm having lower back problems." And I'm like, "Let me tell you. Do you know what I see when I look at you?" And even if they're not incredibly successful, it's still the urgency or the urge, or sometimes the inner sense of not necessarily guilt, but I should be performing at this level. I'm supposed to be. I have those expectations for myself. What's wrong with me that I'm not? All of that kind of plays in to this overwhelm that we start to feel. And one of the ways that I work with this, frankly, one is noticing when I'm starting to feel this way. I always say really successful people have often gotten there because they've worked really, really hard. That's something that's been instilled in us. Do the work, get it done, handle everything. And we tell ourselves, because I can handle everything, I should. So I'm going to be the mom, and I'm going to make, get the groceries, and I'm going to make dinner, and then I'm going to work for 12 hours. Then I'm going to put the kids to bed. Then I'm going to work for another 3 hours. Then I'm going to get up early. And then yes, but when you reach that level of success and you've been working that way for so long, you start to think that's the only way to do it. And I've had some interesting experiences in my life that's told me that you can work that way and you can get successful, but there will be a little payment at the end. And that is you're going to feel flat, exhausted, absolutely done with over your career, the one that you loved in the beginning, what happened? I don't want to do it anymore,
Yeah.
right? I just can't do it. And that's going to ultimately be the payment. And a lot of us skid toward that, and we realize, oh no, wait a minute. I don't want to feel that way. And I'm feeling that way. I don't know how to do it any different. Maybe I should do another career and work. And then we say, I don't even want to work like that. Now what? So for me, that's kind of like a definition of the way many of us have become very successful. And I say, look, when I was 43, I'll just let everybody know. Oops, sorry, I hit my microphone. When I was 43, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. And it was obviously a shock because I felt like I was young and I had kids in grade school and I was working just over the top, building my own company and so on. And I realized, hey, I can't keep doing this, for the next year. I've got surgeries and chemo and radiation and everything. And I was really afraid, if I pull back from this, is my company going to collapse? Is my family going to fall apart? What will happen if I don't just keep showing up the way I've learned how to show up for success? Yeah. And I set myself up. I said, look, I will work for 3 weeks and I'll take 1 week off. I'm going to work for 3 weeks, take 1 week off. And I did that for 5 months in a row. I had to go through all my chemo and radiation. So all the weeks that I was getting treatments, I did nothing. I absolutely did nothing. I laid in bed and I read books and I tried not to check in on my staff. But what I realized at the end of that experience, and by the way, I'm cancer-free now, so no worries. Yay. But I realized at the end of experience that the way I had trained myself to think I had to be successful was just some made up thing in my head. It was just something that had worked for me. Therefore, I thought it should always work, and it's what worked for everybody, and there was no other way. And I realized, hey, wait a minute. I can create this very different, more fluid way of working. I can take time away. I can not be there all the time, and I can still have success. I had to actually learn a new way of sort of inserting myself into my business.
Sure.
And I carried that with me ever since. The way that you're doing things now may have been successful. It is not the only path, but there is a lot of trust that's required for you to shift and try a different way. And sometimes when we're successful in holding a lot of things and holding a lot of people, we don't give ourselves that moment to have the trust to change how we're doing things, where we're doing things, how much of the things that we're doing. So I want to ask everybody, one, consider, is the way that I'm doing it now, I've become maybe successful, or I've reached a certain point, or maybe I'm just grinding still toward that point, but I'm not getting the payoff I want. Pause, like take a moment, pause. Is this the only way? Is the way I've been doing it working? Is the way I've been doing it actually leading to the payoff that I'm looking for? Or do I feel like there's going to be a bill at the end? Like that's the very first thing. The second thing is I would take a day, and I do this periodically now. I go out and cultivate what I call white space. It's a term from art. It's the space on the page that's not being filled with the color.
Okay.
So it's the space around everything that's yet to be changed. And when I say I'm looking for white space, what I'm saying is so often we're filling ourselves and our time with so much. Like there's no room for life, or I call it the universe or your higher power, to actually reach you and give you any information. Like you don't even make room for it.
Yeah.
You're busy from the second you wake up to the second you go to sleep. And then you say, I don't know where I'm going. I hope I'm going in the right direction. And you realize everything is just reliant on you and your own brain to figure it out. And I say, hey, take some time. Take 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I want you to go outside. I want you to leave your phone inside. All you can have with you is a pen and paper. Just sit and think. And at first you'll be thinking about all the things you're trying to solve and all the things you have to do. And then eventually you'll get antsy and you'll want to check your phone. And then right? And then you'll start to think, that project I've been working on, I don't really even like it. Why am I doing that? There's that book that I've been thinking about. When am I going to write that? Maybe I should start doing some morning pages. And other thoughts will seemingly just kind of drop in. because you've created, think of it like creating a still pond. When the waves are always rough and moving in your life, it's hard for anything reflective to happen. But the minute that you create that still opportunity, you can start to kind of reflect the sky. You can reflect other things. You can reflect what's next for you and where you're going. I mean, it's a really small practice, but it can be very powerful. And then
Yes.
flow dream. Anyway, so
Yes.
I've been monologuing here, but those are a couple of ideas to kind of get you thinking about where
So
am
let's
I
talk
and
about that
how
white
have I
space.
been doing it?
Let's talk about that white space for a second, because I think
Mhm.
that that's such a important, everybody calls it something different. And I love the way
Yeah.
you explained it, because I'd never heard it explained like that before.
Yeah.
For me, I just use the word space, but I love how you explained it with a canvas and the white space, because I'm so visual.
Yeah.
I can see it and it makes so much sense, because if I see something and there's no space and nothing for my eye to rest, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't feel relaxed. Just like a wall
Yeah.
that's painted, I
Mhm.
don't want every single part of that wall to be painted with something, because I want to have this relaxing place. So in this space, my experience has been I get my best ideas.
Yes.
I
Oh, hallelujah. Yes.
best ideas. I get my best solutions for problems.
Mhm.
And I also get justification, or I don't know what else to call it, for anything that's going on in my life or things I should be changing. That white space is scary for a lot of people, because they don't always want to be with their thoughts. And what happens is, when I've experienced, and of course through my growth, I'm not like that anymore. But when I first started, those thoughts were scary, because they were telling me things I didn't want to listen to. And so for those people that are just going to start with this white space, let's talk about how, just for a few minutes, how we can take those thoughts and deal with them. And then those people that have been doing it for a while, how can they take advantage of it? Because I think there's some great stuff that happens there.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, First of all, if what you're feeling that comes up is a negative emotion, right? Because I work, part of my job is I work with that, I call it the language of emotions. Emotions are like crayons in a box. Every single color has a purpose. Even the yucky, dark, olivey blacks and grays, they have a purpose. So when you're in that state and you're just kind of letting yourself be, and a lot of us have experienced that when we're showering, drifting off, folding clothes, we're kind of in this funny little daydreaming space anyway, right? And stuff starts to lift. But after it lifts, it sort of comes in, right? All those best ideas come. But if instead what you're getting are negative emotions in there, what you're asking and what you're seeing is, I'm starting to understand why I'm doing some of the things I'm doing. Like, I'm seeing now why I can't get off this hamster wheel. I have to get this done. And so I'd say, okay, well, what are the emotions behind that? Like, why do you have to get this in? Why do you have to reach that income level? Why do you have to get 15 new clients? Why do you have to work till 8 o'clock? And someone might say, well, if I don't, then I won't be able to build this. Like, and then what happens if you don't get to build it? Well, then I'll have to go back to my corporate job. What happens if you go off to the corporate job? Well, then my soul will absolutely die inside me, because I left that, and I would feel disappointment, deep soulful disappointment in myself that I couldn't do it. I'd say, and then what would happen if you felt that? Right? What we're looking for is, we're looking for what is the emotion that's really ultimately deeply propelling us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to go for the things and to do the things we're doing. The hamster wheel of activity is often a kind of stand-in that we use, as opposed, if we, as long as we're being that active, we're not having to look. But the minute we say, I'm really afraid that if I don't succeed, this is what's going to happen. This is how I'll feel. This is what will happen to my family. And then we start to realize something else. Gosh, all the work I'm doing is actually being propelled by a negative emotion. It's being propelled by what I call lack thinking. And I say, well, how do you think you're going to build something wildly successful and fabulous if the thing that's actually propelling you this whole time is fear? You're using fear constantly as a way to make yourself successful. I don't think your being wants to be propelled by fear.
Yeah.
right? That's not a way to create something that's sustainable. And it's not a way that, frankly, I think the universe will answer you with success. And that's why you often find the start, stop, the I almost get there, but then I don't get it. What happens if you get really successful and you're really, really happy and there's no more fear propelling you? You wouldn't know what to do at that point to maintain that success without the fear there kind of grinding you and pushing you. So that's like a whole, I call it a pattern in people.
Mhm.
Sometimes successful, burned out people, I say, we need to break the pattern of fear as your ultimate, goad to
Mhm.
moving forward. You need to
Yeah.
find another energy or emotion that you can tap into instead to create that success.
What are some
I
of
know we kind
the
of veered off there in a whole
No, no,
different
we're good, we're good.
direction, but
For our last few minutes, what are some of the emotions that you have found that have worked for some of your clients to instead focus on instead of the fear?
yeah. When you're in your white space or when you're flow dreaming, because flow
Mhm.
dreaming is, like I said, an active technique that you can use for this,
Right.
I'm asking you to focus not just on the basic emotions like gratitude.
Mhm.
Gratitude is wonderful. It's one of
Uh-huh.
the easiest ones as well, because it acknowledges that I've received something, that I was worthy and deserving of that thing, that I don't have to work more or be more to have that thing.
Mhm.
Really important, because so many of us overachievers, we're like, I have to work more and earn it in order to receive it. Gratitude says, maybe I've already received it. Maybe I've already worked hard for it. But then I
Okay.
would carry it to the next set of feelings, such as these things come to me with ease. That's another hard one for us often. They
Mhm.
come easily. These wonderful things fall in my lap. These opportunities are there for me. I have help from the universe. It's a 50-50 thing I'm doing here. I call it with physical and non-physical. But mostly the right things I'm aligned to. And when I'm aligned to them, they just drop in my lap. And that's allowed to happen. And it does happen. I see it happen for other people. It should happen for me.
Oh,
So letting yourself understand the sense of ease is a
mhm.
biggie, because we often don't trust it. We say, I don't get it unless I grind for it, unless
Yeah.
I push for it.
Yeah.
Like, well, if you believe that,
Society instills that in us and makes it, I
yeah,
have
if you
to work
believe that,
hard, I have to work hard, I have to put in enough hours. It's the
yeah.
most amazing thing when you
Mhm.
finally embrace the fact that you don't have to work hard and that you recognize that when you change that pattern, you change that thought to, I like
Yeah.
to use the word smarter, work smarter, not harder, because
Yeah.
that's how I've been successful, is working smarter. People always ask me, how do you, how do you, how do you? And I always say, because they're looking for logical things, right,
Yeah.
Summer? They don't
Uh-huh.
understand always I just recognize I don't have to work hard. What do you mean? So then I'll share logical things, but
Yeah.
smarter people understand that word. When I say I work smarter, not harder, their brain
Mhm.
understands it. It wraps it around in a logical way instead of like an energetic or spiritual thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
what I found.
100%.
Yeah, I found that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So,
that feeling of ease is just so crucial to start to
yes.
cultivate. And I say it every day. I want
Effort.
this to be easy. I
Yes.
want this to feel effortless.
I
And what
love
I'm
that.
doing then is I'm telling life, this is what I expect and I want from you. And then my own interactions follow that, because
Yes.
I believe it should be that way.
Yeah.
And I like to say we create this sort of feedback loop. I expect it to be easy and effortless. And so easy and effortless things start to happen. My motto in Flow Dreaming Land is, what you are on the inside is what the universe reflects.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
stop trying to change all this stuff on the outside.
Mm.
You can change it, but it's always going to reconfigure itself to once again align to you. And the real place where you can change things, the real power you have, is always right here. I always say, look, everybody can learn all the ways to grow a business, to be successful. It's in books. You can take
Yes.
classes on it. If it
Yes.
was so easy and all the information is there, everyone would be crazy successful. I
Right.
say, but the problem is, yeah, the information is there, but it's up to each of us as individuals to be able to utilize that information.
Right.
That's all you. That's your inner power. Those are your beliefs. And that's why I say, if you're not doing the personal growth part of things and you're only doing the businessy part of things, there's going to be a disconnect,
Yeah.
because it's reflecting you. This part has to grow bigger so that the outside can grow bigger.
Agreed.
There you
Agreed.
go.
Oh, I love that. What a great place for us to wrap up. Would you share with everybody where they can learn more about your programs, working with you, and
Mhm.
also finding the flow dreams?
Yes. I have a ton of free stuff. First of all, like I've been teaching for 20 years, so I have a lot of it. Like I said, try the YouTube channel for a free tutorial. If you come to my website, flowdreaming.com, I also have more free stuff there. Flow Dreams you can download on your phone. There's an app you can look up in the App Store on your phone, a Flow Dreaming app that has a lot of these Flow Dreams in them, like 200 something on all different topics. And again, you can start practicing with some of the, the recorded ones. You don't have to just listen to me. It's like meditation in that sense. You can do guided meditations or you can meditate on your own. It's sometimes nice to do the guided ones though, because it's less
Agreed.
work for
I
you.
like them.
Yeah, thank you. And the final thing I'd suggest is the podcast, because there's like, I don't know, 700 episodes or something there of
Amazing.
just free continuous learning. So check out the podcast. It's called Flow Dreaming, still kind of woo-woo, and dig in, go for it.
Yes. Yes. And you can just Google Flow Dreaming and all of Summer's stuff will come up. So you'll be
Yes.
able to find everything there. And thank you so much,
Mhm.
Summer. I've appreciated connecting with you. You were one of my mentors for a long time. You still are. And it's so fun to interview you and share with others what has helped me in my success in so many ways. And I highly recommend anybody that's watching or listening to check it out, because there's some great things there that in any aspect of personal, business, life challenges that you can utilize that can benefit you. And who doesn't want something to benefit them? So thank you, Summer. Thank you for being a part of today.
Thank you, Khalid. It has been wonderful reconnecting with you. Thank you for
Yes.
letting me share.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody for listening and watching for another episode of the Successful Women's TV show. I will see you next time. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. Bye, everybody.